So hello and welcome to today's episode of Rockstar Retrospectives. In the last episode we took a look at the worst Rockstar game ever made, which was Austin Powers' Welcome to My Underground Lair. But for today's episode we'll be taking a look at the time Rockstar Games tried taking on the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series. There's no denying the Tony Hawk series was a behemoth, as not only did it generate one of the most popular franchises for the PS1 and PS2 era, but it also helped knock skateboarding back into popularity and encouraged many fans of the Tony Hawk series to take up skateboarding for themselves. And to this day, the series is still really popular. Even though the golden age of skateboarding is long gone, there's still a die-hard community out there who actively replay the classics and recently got remastered for 2020 to potentially reboot the series. The Tony Hawk games were arcadey, short, easy, but also offered quite a bit of a challenge if you're willing to do it. They were fun to play by yourself or compete with friends for a high score, and a character creator that has aged like fine wine, and has some of the best soundtracks for a game I've ever heard. And I just put this out there, but if you're watching this and you disagree with me on American Wasteland having the best soundtrack, please stop this video, get your ears tested, and come back. And like with anything popular, many companies try to cash in on this craze, and shockingly, Rockstar Games were one of these companies. They tried their hand at rivaling Tony Hawk's Pro Skater not 2 months after the original release for the very first Pro Skater game, and this was called THRASHER Skate and Destroy for the PS1. Now much like Tony Hawk, this was partly inspired by real life skateboarding brands, as the entire game's name is based off Thrasher, the skateboarding magazine, which is still going nearly 40 years strong today, alongside having real brands appearing in the game as sponsors. However, unlike what usually happens with clones and cash-ins, rather than try to clone the Tony Hawk formula, Rockstar took a different approach, which was a more realistic one, to skateboarding, something which would later be tried by EA in their Skate series on the 360 and PS3. Now, as this is a sports game, there's no actual story or anything like that, so let's give Thrasher Skate and Destroy a troll. So upon start we get our usual Rockstar Games logos, and much like Tony Hawk we get a neat little skateboard montage, although we don't know any of these skaters because there's no names popping up. And on the menu we have 3 options: skate, options or multiplayer, so we're not exactly sport for choice here, and our options don't get better with our skaters. Now you'd think being a skate based game we'd have like some kind of skaters, you know, like how Tony Hawk is Tony Hawk, Bob Burnquist, Rodney Mullen, Jeff Rowley, etc, etc. Thrasher Skate Destroy doesn't have any of that. They don't have any amateur skateboarders or skateboarders who would have featured in the magazines. They go for just 6 custom skateboarders, that's it. We have Axel, Callie, Scab, Jasmine, Roach and Cyrus. We can change their appearance, but that's it really. We can't do much else. Now our first level here is Hometown, and it's seemingly located, well, wherever this map is based, but I have no idea where this is because I'm not American. But there is no tutorial, which I don't like. Now granted the Tony Hawk series didn't have a tutorial either, so yeah, I'm not going to fault it for that. But one thing I'm not a fan of here is how this text on the screen just won't go away. It just reminds me of the arcade machines that would just loop gameplay while saying please enter £2 to play or something like that. So let's go over the major gameplay differences between Thrasher Skate and Destroy and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Now, unlike Tony Hawk, this is definitely more grounded in realism. For example, going full speed into a wall will knock you out, rather than just a gentle tap in the other direction. You cannot pull off huge epic combos. You've probably done them in any Tony Hawk game, but here it's not possible. You can do basic combos max. Like you can do a flip trick to grind, to a 180 flip, etc. Grinding is only temporary, so don't expect to be zooming around the map doing 900s or whatever. The controls are much different too. For example, X is to pick up speed, square is to ollie, circle is to grab, and triangle is to flip. Now you can't just jump and then do any trick you want, you actively have to hold down a button and then press the direction on the D-pad and then let go. For example, if I want to do a shove it, I have to hold triangle, then press down on the D-pad, then let go of triangle and hope I don't bail. So what do the runs contain? Well, once again, unlike the Tony Hawk series, the runs here are just beat the score. That's it. There's no finding a tape or finding the word Thrasher or beat a specific combo score, just beating a high score. But there is actually a way to fail the run. You can do that by breaking your skateboard, which I believe is done by bailing too many times. Which I'll give them props for, it's actually a unique failing method rather than just running out of time. But you'd think that this would be a bit of a challenge given the fact the game's more grounded in realism and the physics are much more different, right? Well, no, you'd think so, but no, it's really not. For example, level 1 at least I managed to cheese just by repeating the same tricks over and over again. Level 2 I did something similar, but I just keep going up the half pipe, hitting the other half pipe, doing a trick, hitting the other half pipe again, doing another trick, and so on. It can be challenging if you're going for combos, but honestly this is just too easy. Now apparently the multiplayer mode contains more game modes, such as sessions where both players have 2 minutes to get a high score. There's nickel bag to whoever gets the highest scoring trick. Horse, player 1 does one trick, player 2 has to match it. Top dog, 5 different tricks at 5 different spots. Sick fix, which apparently is something like insurance fraud from Saints Row. And long grind and big wall ride, aka whoever gets the biggest grind and the biggest wall ride. However, I will give Thrasher some points, as there are a few features that are unique to this. For example, the police. Towards the end of any run, your music will suddenly go silent and you'll hear police sirens, and an officer say something about arresting you.
There's one of the punks!
The first few times this happens it will catch you off guard because the game temporarily becomes an escape sequence from the officer's point of view. Or if you're not moving, you'll suddenly get tasered. Honestly, when this happened I thought it was a story thing, you know, like how in Tony Hawk's Underground 1 you ended up arrested in Moscow because of Eric. But no, if you get tasered you just have to do it all over again. So what are you actually supposed to do? Well, pick up speed, avoid the police for a few seconds, lose them, and level is complete. That's it. It feels weird to be honest, but I guess it fits the stereotype of police hating skateboarders. Now, the soundtrack is pretty good, I can't show any of it for copyright reasons, but there's a good 14 tracks here, 2 of which appeared in GTA San Andreas. These being Public Enemy, Rebel Without a Pause, and Eric B's I Know You Got Soul. But honestly, it feels repetitive. Like, I failed my run twice and I got the same song 3 times in a row. But honestly, if you like the Tony Hawk soundtracks, you'll probably like these, it's got more of a hip hop kind of vibe to it, you know. The graphics I think are fine for 1997, they're definitely crap by today's standards, but I'm not going to pick apart a game's graphics from over 20 years ago, so obviously they're going to look shit by today's standards. But to be honest, I'm not really a fan of this game too much. It doesn't have much charm or memorability as the Tony Hawk series has, or even the same kind of charm or memorability of other Rockstar games either. Like, people remember the weird absurd tasks in Pro Skater, such as dunking the foreman in Pro Skater 3, playing baseball with a ghost in Pro Skater 4, collecting Kiss to get a Kiss concert, or going to hell in Underground 2. But here there's nothing really memorable, you know. And that was one of the major complaints with the game when it came out. Many reviews said it was tedious and overall the reviews were very mixed. Some like PSX Extreme gave it 8.4 out of 10, while PSN gave it 2 out of 5. Some of the more critical reviews did point out how tedious a game can be or how unfriendly it is to new players, and this was partly why Thrasher failed. Because unlike today where technical aspects are praised heavily, be it in strategy games or small little tricks to get an advantage in shooters, this was a different time period where people just wanted to pick up a game and play, and Thrasher did not offer that at all, and while Tony Hawk's Pro Skater did that and was much more friendly to newcomers. Personally, I think Thrasher was trying to be too ahead of its time. Like, there's only so much you can do with the PS1, and had they waited to the PS2, which, okay, I know this was 97 so they probably weren't thinking in advance, but I think if it came out on a later generation console it probably would have done a hell of a lot better. But outside of that, I think the controls are a bit finicky, the physics I think are a bit too sensitive for a realistic experience, and the soundtrack is repetitive. There's also a lack of good level design here and it just doesn't feel good to me. Like, levels I kinda get what they're going for, but they're bland and empty, you know. It's almost like as if you would say, I'd say if you activated the Ghost Town cheat in San Andreas for example, it just kind of feels like that, you know, really empty, barren of anything memorable, and so on. Now Rockstar have never seemingly revisited skateboarding much again. Like, yeah, it made an appearance in Buddy, but that was just a way to move around faster, you couldn't do any tricks or anything like that. And it was cut content in both GTA San Andreas and GTA 5, although granted at the time of making this, it's not been added to GTA 9 but it could at any point. But in closing, I'd say if you want to try out Thrasher Skate and Destroy, I'd say give it a try. Personally, I consider it mediocre, but I know some people probably will enjoy it, especially those who prefer more realism or technical based aspects in their games. But yeah, it's not going to be for everyone, and it's not friendly to newcomers, but yeah. So that's it for today's video, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for either Buddy content or reviews of other Rockstar games. So thank you for watching, and have a great day.